Hello, brick sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and we did it. We reached 10,000 subscribers, and I am so grateful. The amount of support I have gotten from all of my amazing viewers is just awesome. I can't believe I'm in this position. I never thought I would be here with this channel, and just like that, we're there, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. As a special treat for a 10,000 subscriber video, I'm going to give you a brief history of Brick Sculpt. And that means a brief history of me. I was born in 1988 and I'm 36 years old. And ever since I can remember, I had Lego in my life. From a very, very, very young age, my mother really pushed creative play. Video games were pretty new at the time, and she was not a big fan of them. In fact, we got a Sega Genesis after N64 came out. We got an N64 after GameCube came out. So we had them, but they weren't that fun because they were so outdated. No, we were encouraged to do outdoor play, and when we were inside, anything creative, hands-on, either artistic or things like Lego. And at that age, I loved it because I didn't really know any better. I was occasionally envious of some of the video game stuff, but that was kind of rare. I really liked outdoor stuff like cycling and fishing and things like that. But the creative play stuff was always my favorite. And as an adult, I am super grateful because to this day, I'm really good with my hands. I love anything hands-on, and I love hobbies just like Lego. So thank you, Mom. My early memories of Lego went like this. I had an older sister, and we would play together. And my mom kept a pretty darn clean house. And her rule with Lego was that when we played Lego, we had a giant bin that we got out. We had to put a blanket down on the ground. We'd dump the bin in the middle, and that would be kind of like the landfill we would pull parts from. And then we'd take our base plates and build whatever we wanted. And then when we were done, we would put the stuff back on the blanket, fold the four corners together, dump it back in the bin, and put it away. Our favorite activity to do, my sister and I, were to build garages and lots of cars. And what we would do with the cars is we would crash test them into the aluminum base of the sliding glass door. And we would crash test them to see what kind of parts fell off. And when the parts would fall off, we'd take it back to the garage and rebuild it and try to make it stronger so we could do it again. And this was our favorite activity, and almost every single day, this bin of Lego came out so we could do this over and over and over again. Now, as I grew up and got into my teen years, I took the hobby a little bit more seriously. I always loved the Lego City stuff. And from a pretty young age, my parents allowed me to build a fairly large Lego City. I had a banquet table in the basement. Now, I don't know exactly, but I want to say it was like 3 foot by 8 foot. It was a pretty big table. And I had completely filled it with a city. And I had a couple of neighbor friends living on each side of me who were also about my age and were also into Lego, and they built cities as well. Now, the nice thing was, I always had the most Lego, I always had the best city, and they were always envious of it. And it was because of my parents. They really pushed me to do stuff like this. You know, in this time, this was before internet sales. This was before it was easy to go online and to find 2x2 dark tan tiles in any quantity you want. You had to really try to find this stuff. And it was still expensive. Maybe not like it is today, but it was still expensive and it was kind of hard to acquire. My mom and dad were avid garage sailors, so they would hit up garage sales all the time. And if they ever found buckets of Lego, they would instantly buy it. And so I had a very, very large collection for that time and for that age. And my friends were really envious of it because their parents weren't that crafty. They just had to work with what they had out of their sets, and their collections were much, much smaller. Their cities might have had 5 or 6 buildings. Mine had 30. So they couldn't really compete. But we had a lot of fun playing with each other's collections, and we really took it to the next level. Now, none of them took it as serious as I did. So eventually, I outgrew my banquet table. We had an old folded up ping pong table in the corner of the basement that got pulled out on rare occasions but almost never was used. And eventually I convinced my parents to let me move the Lego City to the ping pong table. It over doubled in size. I ran a river right down the middle with a bridge. I even elevated one side and started playing with elevation techniques. My intention was always to elevate both sides, but I never got to the second side because I didn't have enough parts. But I did have the entire ping pong table completely covered. Now in this time, LEGO was quite a bit different. The color selection was nothing like you got today. Everything was primary colors, red, yellow, blue, or the grayscale, white, light gray, or black. That's what you built with. Eventually, we got the luxury of dark gray and brown, and green was around, but it was typically just base plates and plants. Eventually, green bricks became a thing. So in this era, where I was building an entire ping pong table full of Lego, I had about 9 colors to work with. But it was fun, and we had to make do. And you had to do things like when you built a large city, you had to space out the colors, because every other building would have to be a different color. You couldn't put all the yellow buildings together and all the red buildings together. You had to spread them out and make it look like an actual city. So it was quite a challenge, and it was very, very, very different from the building we do today. Some of my favorite stuff from back then were these guys here. As a kid, I absolutely loved the rescue sets. These guys were so cool. I had almost every rescue set. I don't think I had the largest one, but I think I had all the rest, and they were just a lot of fun to play with. And they had great boats and vehicles and just a lot of fun stuff to do. It wasn't Lego City related, but I loved the early Ninja stuff. I think it was early 2000s, maybe 2002, 3, or 4, somewhere in there. They had the early Ninjas out, and they were so much fun. And I did incorporate them in the city, because what I would do is I would have them attack the city, and I had to make an army to defend it. So they were incorporated in the city, even though they probably shouldn't have been. But hey, that's how you play with these things, right? The Extreme Team stuff was super cool. I had a lot of Extreme Team, and I thought they were really cool, awesome vehicles, and just a lot of fun to play with. I really liked the divers. I had a few of the submarines, and this stuff was really cool to fit into the Lego City. I was a soccer player when I was younger, and when they came out with the Lego soccer stadium, my parents bought the entire thing. I had the field. I think I had 4 or 6 sections of bleachers, including 2 of the corner bleachers, and then I had kind of the main building with the crane for the video guy. It was a super cool set, and I had that incorporated in the back of my city. And I couldn't believe that they actually bought the whole thing for me, because that was probably hundreds of dollars. Of course, in that era, you had to love Lego Adventures and Johnny Thunder, and I'm so excited they brought this back. It's not quite the same, but it is pretty cool that they brought him back into the modern Lego scene. So kudos to Lego, good job. And then, of course, I was a huge Star Wars junkie. I collected all the Star Wars action figures, the little ones, the big ones, the vehicles, everything. So when Lego Star Wars came out, it was huge. And my mom was just as into the Star Wars stuff as I was, so she would buy me all these things. And I have every early Lego Star Wars set because they were just my thing, and I played with those like crazy. And shortly after that, I entered kind of a dark age, as AFLs call it. You know, I got out of high school and I was going away to college, and in college and even later high school, Lego became kinda uncool, unfortunately. See, back then it wasn't as popular as it is today. It was around, but it was mostly known as a kid's toy. And AFLs, I'm sure they were out there, but they were much more rare than they are today. And it was kind of one of those hobbies that, you know, as you got older, you kind of had to hide from your friends, which is unfortunate. And I'm so glad that's changed and it has become so widely accepted and such a cool world now. So for a while, I didn't touch this stuff. I went off to college, I got my degree, had a couple of jobs, bounced around, grew up a little bit, got married, and eventually I decided to pull the stuff back out of my parents' basement. So I got it all into my new house, and I built myself a small Lego city on a banquet table in the basement. I still had all the skills. That stuff you don't really lose, fortunately, but I didn't have the parts. You know, this was about a 10-year gap. And in that 10-year gap from probably 2006 to maybe 2016, Lego had changed so much. The amount of colors, the amount of techniques, the pieces like snot pieces and brackets, and all the different detail elements that just weren't there then were now available. But I hadn't invested enough time and energy to actually go out and buy the stuff. So I was still building with 2006 techniques in 2016. So it was short-lived. I used that city for a little bit, and then I reboxed it up and moved into my new house. Now in my new house, I decided I'm building a Lego table and I'm going to do it right. At this period, which is about 3 years ago, I discovered BrickLink, BrickOwl, Rebrickable, all these awesome resources. And I got really into watching Lego stuff on YouTube because the next best thing, if I didn't have the stuff to build it, was to watch other people do it. And so I got really into that. And in my Lego searches, I found a lot of cool stuff, but a lot of it was site reviews or mocks, but you see kind of the final build, but none of the process along the way. And I really wanted to learn. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see people my age using this stuff the way it's supposed to be used and talking about it in a way that's educational and thought-provoking. And it just isn't really there. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, it's rare. So I decided, well, maybe I'll give it a try. And thus, Brick Sculpt was born. Now, I do these videos for so many reasons, but the number one reason, hands down, is for me. I do this because it helps me learn. It helps show me more about these parts. In the last year, since starting this channel, my knowledge of Lego and building with it has probably doubled, with not a lot of time actually building things. I've built one large mock in that time. I'm not building these gigantic, huge setups. I'm just tinkering on this table and letting you guys see it and talk about it. And that's what I love about this. And I set up this build station and I talk to you guys and I show some stuff. And when I make a video, I don't really script it. I do a little bit of preparation, but not much. I build a few things. I talk about a few things. But I'm never afraid to put things out there that may be incorrect or might be missing pieces, because you guys help me so much and pick up the parts that I'm missing. You guys get back and say, hey, no, you're wrong. Did you think about this piece? Or did you try this? Or maybe build it this way? And I learned so much because of the community that we've built with this channel. And that's what I think is truly beautiful about this channel. I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I film every one of these videos on my phone. I am a okay editor at best, and it's not my favorite part of this. I don't really enjoy doing it, but I love the conversation, and I love getting to build Lego and have a purpose for doing it. So I get asked all the time, am I ever going to show my face on this channel? So as one final treat for reaching 10,000 subscribers, here I am. I just want to give a big thank you to anybody who's ever watched one of my videos, anyone who's ever liked, subscribed, commented. All of that has contributed to this awesome community, and I couldn't be more grateful. I look forward to doing more of this in the future. With your guys' help, I've grown so much as a Lego builder and as a content creator, so I am so grateful. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.